Happy Easter, everybody, and welcome to today's sermon, which is on Easter Sunday. Now, this is a very special time, especially in the whole world, as we know. The whole reality of the coronavirus is now with us. And what is the significance of celebrating Easter Sunday in such a time? Well, I feel it's never more relevant. We are, in a way, in a place of wilderness right now. We've been shaken really to the core, and I think we all can admit that. This is something almost unprecedented. But if we look in our history, there have been plagues before, and in our Bible, we see many examples of where people were in disastrous times, like the deportations into Babylon, the slavery in Egypt, the whole destruction of the city of Jerusalem, maybe 30 years after the time of Christ's crucifixion. So many disasters happen even in Christian times with the emperors in Rome. And they had the same effect as we are feeling probably now. Vulnerability, ordinary people feeling vulnerable. During war times, this is similar. We feel vulnerable. We feel afraid and unsure. There's also a time when we may be feeling that who is going to help us? Today's celebration of the resurrection must have a significance for us at this time. If at any other time, this is the time when we should experience the resurrection, that we can rise above this very challenging time and have that sense of hope and trust in the Lord, who is always with us. He's in the wilderness with us. He is there in our deepest fears and in our vulnerability. There is where we find him mostly. With Christian theology, with Christian ideals, we have a different approach to the world and its challenges. Why? Because we say, we are never alone. We are with the risen Lord. He has said it. I'll be with you all days until the end of time. The human spirit, my friends, is being celebrated today. We have been created in God's image and in his likeness. And we have been challenged, do I believe? Do I expect God to help me? Expect God to be with you. Expect God to pull you through this. Expect God to shine his light in this darkness. The Bible is full of hope, my friends, and it's beautiful promises from the mouth of God. The mouth of God. Remember, I'll be with you always until the end of time. As Jesus said, one of the last few things he said before leaving us. Now, we are challenged to put our faith in those words, to put our faith in what we profess to believe. I'm sure all looking at this have a grounding in faith, in our Catholic faith more likely. But you know that this is what the kernel of our faith is. Trust in the living God who lives and is with us, who has risen from the dead. Now, there is one condition. We must go back to God. Sometimes we make wrong decisions that affect our society even. And we can ask the question, is God pleased with some of our decisions? Now, let us be assured here, God doesn't punish. I don't want anyone saying, oh, the coronavirus is a punishment from God to bring people back. I am not saying that. I don't believe that. That is not anything to do with our faith. If you are thinking that way, you are not thinking in the way of the Catholic Church. Of course we are sinners. Of course we make mistakes. Of course God has every right to be vexed with us. But he is not vexed. He is not annoyed with us. He is not even wanting us in any way to be annihilated like this. He loves us. Remember the lovely imagery from Francis Thompson, the poet, who wrote The Hound of Heaven. The dog, the hound, the greyhound, the big dog is running after the little animal, hunting, as animals are wont to do. And we are like the little animal running in front of God. And the hound is running after us, nearly catching us, and we are turning and weaving and bobbing to get away from God. That's what we are like. Our image of God may have been, God sits up there in heaven, his arms folded, looking down, look at him now, look at her now, look what she did, look at this. This is not the God that Jesus came to reveal. The God that Jesus came to reveal is like the father in the story of the prodigal son, sitting there waiting. Even Francis Thompson put it better again when he said, he's continuously seeking us out, rather than we seeking him out. It doesn't matter that we're not seeking him out. He is running after us, trying to catch us, trying to bring a bit of sense to us. So this is the image that I would like you to go away with. The risen Lord. There is hope. There is joy. There is a way out. There is the presence of God with us in his sacraments, in the people that we meet. Look at God in the people that are doing great things, the nurses, the doctors, who are putting their lives on the line to save us from this terrible virus, I should say. Look at even artists who are giving of their free time on the internet and live streaming their songs and things to give people a bit of courage. Famous artists that our young people know and who are trying to do their little bit to help us through this crisis. There's great wonder in the human spirit, and it will show itself more and more as we go along. So, great things happen when we put our trust in the Lord. Now, create a space for God in this situation. Have a little altar, maybe. Put a little altar in a special corner in the sitting room, or where people can come and have that sacred space with the Lord. Put some images there that remind us of God, even holy pictures, or even saints, or anything that reminds you of the triumph of God over death and sickness and evils of any kind. Have it there. Now and again burn a candle, but be careful, don't burn the house down. Have something that reminds you and leave that space as sacred. And even just looking in that corner is a prayer. Put your trust in the Lord, in the risen Lord that we celebrate today, and you will find consolation. I am so sure of that. You will find consolation. And yes, pray the rosaries, the luminous mysteries as the Pope has encouraged us, because he wants to give us that hope. May God bless you to experience and know the reality of the resurrection. Put your trust in the Lord, like the husband would with his wife, and vice versa, would put their faith in each other when they go out, and trust them that they don't do anything wayward. The same way we put our trust in the Lord. It's something you can't touch with the senses, but it's our faith and our assurance of God's ever-presence with us. May God bless you, and may you experience the joy of the risen Lord. Christ is risen from the dead. Alleluia, alleluia.